limits for members of Congress, and ending the outdated COVID national emergency, which I am proud to report has already passed the House. We also established the China Competition Committee, the Weaponization of the Federal Government Subcommittee, and a COVID Origins Subcommittee to hold the Biden regime accountable. A lot of folks didn't think that we had a plan, but of course we did. We knew what we wanted to accomplish for the American people, and we certainly got there. It's just sometimes you got to break a few eggs when you bake a cake. At the end of the day, when the Freedom Caucus, Paul Ryan, and even AOC praise the changes we've made, I think you can be confident it was a big win for the American people. The last point I want to make on this is I believe that Speaker McCarthy deserves a lot of credit for seeing the merit in our requests and granting them. And I think he's off to an incredible start. I'm working on bringing him out to Colorado's 3rd District, and I'll keep you updated on that effort as we get closer. I don't want to be one of the 20 who simply admires the tools that we now receive that we fought so hard for. I want to actually put those tools to use. And I have recently stated publicly that we have got to get more aggressive with these tools that we fought so hard for in that first week of the 118th Congress. And you have my word that I am not slowing down. I have your back, and I won't let you down. Now, for those of you who may have just joined the call, I do want to let you know this is Congresswoman Lauren Boebert in Washington, D.C., and I just finished up votes here in D.C., and I want to give you an update on how all the great work my team and I are doing is affecting you. Please press star 3 if you have a question, and we'll put you in the queue. I'll do my best to get to as many as I can. And please press star 6 to be signed up for my weekly e-newsletter so you know exactly what I'm doing for you.
You have already been placed into the question and answer queue. If you wish to be removed from the queue, please press 1 to confirm or 2 to cancel. You have not been removed from the question queue.
For a little feedback from you. We're going to do that by way of poll questions. And our first poll question of the evening, you'll use your telephone keypad to register your vote. I'll ask the question twice, give you the options of answers twice as well. So our first question is about reading of bills. Do you support the change Republicans made to ensure each member has 72 hours to read a bill before voting on it? Please press 1 for yes or 2 for no. Again, the poll question we're looking.
Your response has been registered.
Do you support the change Republicans made to ensure each member has 72 hours to read a bill before voting on it? Please press 1 for yes or 2 for no.
Your response has been registered.
In their opinion, thank you for participating in our first poll. Congresswoman, I'll hand the call back over to you now.
Thank you so much for that. And, you know, for those folks who may not think that 72 hours is necessary to read a bill, then I'm not sure what to really say to that. But I think that this is something that is very beneficial. There were many times where we had multi-thousand-page bills that spent trillions of dollars where we had less than 24 hours to actually read the bill. This is your money. This is policy that affects your life. And I'm glad that we fought hard to make sure that we have time to actually read and understand the legislation before voting on it. Other improvements that we made includes returning to a more open amendment process under Nancy Pelosi. Bills would often skip the committee of jurisdiction and were rushed to the House floor where no amendments would be allowed. For instance, I served on the Budget Committee in the last Congress, and often we would have bills that fell under our jurisdiction that we would not have an ability to actually debate, amend, and discuss in committee before it went to the House floor for a vote. And then once it did get to the House floor for a vote, members were not allowed to offer amendments. That's not a constitutional republic. That's a dictatorship. Now, for the first time since 2016, members of both parties are allowed to submit amendments to bills on the House floor and receive a vote. I'm proud to have already authored 5 amendments to legislation, all of which have passed with strong bipartisan support. These amendments accomplish a variety of policy initiatives, including increasing responsible energy production here in Colorado, achieving greater transparency in the federal government, and getting to the bottom of real impact that COVID vaccine mandates had on the American people. Now, just a side note, for those who are just joining, I see that there are a significant number of people who are calling in. This is Congresswoman Lauren Boebert calling from Washington, D.C. Please press star 3 if you have a question. I'll do my best to get to your question. And please press star 6 to be signed up for my weekly e-newsletter so you can properly be informed on all of the work that I am doing for you. Now let's take our second poll question. Dirk, please take it away.
All right, we're talking about, let's see here, energy in this poll question. We're looking for everyone that's on the line with us to use their telephone keypad to register their vote. Do you support increasing domestic energy production? Please press 1 for yes or 2 for no. So again, the poll.
Your response has been registered.
Right now, do you support increasing domestic energy production? Please press 1 for yes.
Your response has been registered.
A number of people are registering their vote. Thank you very much for participating in our second poll. And another feature of this call, of course, is the opportunity to talk directly with Congresswoman Boebert. If you're on the line with us, we're about to get into our Q&A. Our first caller with a question, we've got Paul joining us on the line. Paul, welcome to the call. Go ahead with your question, please.
Good evening, Congresswoman. Thank you for what you do.
Hi, Paul.
Excuse me. I'm really concerned about 3 issues. I think I speak for a lot of people. First is the ESG nonsense that's being pushed forward. Second, and most important in my mind, is the amount of illegal immigration that's entering our country. And frankly, there's been a lot of lip service from Congress, not from you, Congressman, but from Congress, both sides of the aisle. But nothing has been done. Absolutely nothing. And the third is, where does the impeachment process of this president stand? We need to do something. I'm getting really frustrated, and nothing seems to be happening. Can you address those issues, please?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much, Paul. These are 3 very important issues that certainly I hear a lot about. ESG is very dangerous, and I believe that this is a woke agenda set forth to have corporations subvert Congress. They are implementing this agenda through corporations rather than through the legislative process, and it's impacting a lot of people. Now, actually, one of my favorite books that addresses this is by Glenn Beck, and it's called The Great Reset. And his remarks on ESG are something that I believe many people need to hear, read, and understand, because this is something that is impacting each and every one of us, and it is the Green New Deal set by corporations that can't get those same policies pushed through Congress. And we do have select committees, subcommittees that are specifically engaged on this issue, and I think you're going to see a lot from the Republican majority to address this in this Congress. But it is important to note that we need more than just the House majority to actually get this all the way across the finish line. Now, immigration is a problem that is certainly impacting all Americans, especially us in Colorado, where we are a sanctuary state, and illegal immigration is encouraged and incentivized through the Department of New Americans that was established by the Democrat supermajority in the state of Colorado, which has instituted and even bolstered many benefits to illegal immigration, benefits that our veterans who have served our country selflessly struggle to receive, and people who break our laws to come to our country illegally obtain immediately. This is something that we are absolutely focused on. We need to secure our southern border. There is no room for negotiation outside of securing the southern border. We have almost 6 million illegal aliens coming through our southern border under Joe Biden's administration, and that's just the ones that we know of. So this is something that we are taking very, very seriously. I've been to the southern border 3 times. I have had hearings in the Oversight and Accountability Committee with Border Patrol agents here in Washington, D.C., who are talking about the extreme circumstances at the border with unaccompanied minors, with the drug trafficking, with the gun trafficking. Fentanyl that is coming into our state. Colorado is number 2 for fentanyl poisoning in the nation. And this is a very, very serious issue. Now, to segue into impeachment of Joe Biden, I do think that that is important. However, I think even more important than that, since Joe Biden does have a great insurance policy with Kamala Harris as VP, I think more important is to bring Secretary Mayorkas in under articles of impeachment, because what he is doing at the southern border is intentional, it is willful, it is direct, and it is with a purpose. This is not simply a dereliction of duty. This is an intentional invasion that he has created at the southern border. He has worked under administrations in the past who have had operational security, operational control of the southern border, and
Your response has been registered.
have that, which is very serious and is putting millions of Americans at risk and even killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. And thank you so much for your questions. I hope that brief summary answered them to some extent. There's many more issues that I have addressed on these topics.
Your response has been registered.
Okay.
Newsletter. And with that, I would like to take the next question, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Our next caller is Karen, who joins us live. Karen, welcome to the call. Go ahead with your question for Congresswoman Boebert.
Good evening, Congresswoman. I want to know your thoughts on our military, our veterans. I've voted for you, and I've been hearing that you don't care about our military nor our veterans. What can we do here in Colorado to recognize these heroes, active duty and veterans?
Yeah. No, Terry, so unfortunately, in the world of politics, there are a lot of lies and rhetoric that run rampant, and we do our best to combat that. But I meet with our veterans all the time, and the constituent casework that comes out of my office mainly focuses on our veterans, our heroes who have done so much and sacrificed so much to serve our country, who are fighting for the benefits that they are owed for their service to our country. And I'm proud to have helped hundreds of them and even thousands in the district. And, any problems that we're facing right now with our military is not the rank and file members. Unfortunately, we do have some in leadership who are more focused on the woke agenda and policies, diversity, equity, and inclusion. But we have so many members of our military who sacrifice so much, their family, their time, and unfortunately, even some their lives. And this is something that I certainly take seriously and love our veterans so much. So I do appreciate that question because unfortunately in politics, there are those who aren't always concerned with the truth, and they're willing to run on a lie to smear someone. And so any veterans that or service members who are on the call tonight, I do thank you wholeheartedly for your service. For anyone to think that I don't respect that, I'm sorry that that deception came, but we are doing everything that we can to make sure that these heroes are honored and get the service and benefits that they are owed. We'll get to some more questions in just a minute, and I appreciate these questions. I want to update you on some of the legislation that I have filed and am even preparing to file this Congress that will address many of the issues that we're facing in Colorado's 3rd District and will also benefit all of America.
You're doing, Suze?
First, I introduced the American Energy Act a few weeks ago, which has already received a hearing from the Natural Resources Subcommittee on Energy and Minerals and will be passed by the full committee tomorrow. My bill will create a more efficient process for approving drilling permits and prevents radical judges from inserting their political preferences on America's critical energy infrastructure. I'm very thankful that it's been included in a larger energy package led by the Natural Resources Chairman, Bruce Westerman, and I'm hopeful it will pass the House very soon. Also this week, I'll be introducing the Dolores River National Conservation Area and Special Management Area Act. This is a bipartisan bill supported by Senators Bennett and Hickenlooper, but more importantly, it's something that stakeholders in Southwest Colorado have been advocating for over a decade. I'm confident that this bill will pass the House, and I am working hard with
Cruelty.
senators to see that
9
this bill
bleeding
becomes
swords.
law this Congress. I've also joined with my colleague Tom Tiffany to the Trust the Science Act, which will protect farmers and ranchers by delisting the gray wolf from the endangered species list. Some legislation you should be on the lookout for is an updated version of my forestry legislation. Now, the reason we haven't introduced this just yet is we do expect this to pass the House, and I want to make sure all of the feedback that I have received over the past almost 2 years since first introducing this forestry legislation is implemented. I want to make sure that your concerns are addressed, that your ideas
Susie, what you doing, boy?
are implemented, and that we have a really
What you doing, boy? We're talking to the Congresswoman. That's all fake, fake, fake. Recorded fake, bullshit, fake, fake, fake.
But this is legislation that
You've won by 500 votes, Lauren.
Challenges and
500. It took you 4 times to pass your GED, you silly twat waffle.
I'm currently drafting legislation to secure Colorado's water resources. I know how critical clean water is to our state, which is why I recently met with Governor
Water? What are you talking about?
At the beginning of this call to discuss how we can partner on this with the state and federal legislators. Water is a top priority for my office.
Water is your priority. Water. It's an element, honey. There's 4 of them. Earth, air, fire, water. Didn't you ever see The Craft?
This is why I work to be on the House Natural Resources Subcommittee on water, wildlife, and fisheries. And you'll be seeing some exciting legislation for Colorado's water in the near future.
I know, right? What is she talking about? She's wacky, Susie.
From Oregon. And he actually was a water lawyer before becoming a member of Congress.
A water lawyer,
Very
really?
excited
What does that mean?
To help address Colorado's water issues.
Yeah, water. Turn the faucet on. That's all you got to do to address the issue, honey.
Really, the detriment and downfall of not having proper water storage.
Yeah, water storage. It's called a water bottle, a water tank.
To the west.
It's called a fucking
part of
lunatic.
the Colorado River Compact. We recently saw that California has dumped hundreds of billions of gallons of water into the ocean simply because they did not have a place to store it. This is a problem.
What are you talking about?
Have a water shortage issue.
This girl's a fucking maniac.
Storage issue, and I am fighting to address those. Now, the last item I want to update you on before we take some more questions is my work on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. We've held important hearings on the massive waste and fraud that allowed 20 to 50% of COVID relief payments to be fraudulently paid out. We've also held hearings on the border crisis, Twitter censorship of certain stories for political purposes, and the committees is holding